diver, so it pays to keep your eye on them. So we're not here to look at them. We're here to find out how to avoid being attacked. And over there is Eric. He has a lot of new and controversial theories. Come on, let's go and talk to him. G'day, Eric. Great classroom, mate. If you believe everything they tell you about sharks, then we should be being torn apart right now.
That is correct, but one of the first things we learned working with these animals is if they do not associate us with food, it's perfectly safe to stay very close to the food source.
Then the whole concept of a feeding frenzy doesn't exist.
That is correct. There's no such thing as a feeding frenzy. They do not mistake us for food. They do not just bite us.
I don't agree with a mistaken identity theory either. But how can we prove that?
Well, we run a series of experiments, but we will not show this out on these small Caribbean reefs and blacktooth sharks, but on the much larger bull sharks over in the shallow waters.
Bull sharks? You mean bull sharks? Bull sharks are one of the most dangerous sharks in the world. And we're going to be working with them in shallow water, with no cages, no chainmail, no pods. That'll be fun.
You know, there are quite a few species of shark here that are capable of inflicting a lot of damage to swimmers or divers. But there's one species that's known around the world for danger, and that's the bull shark.
A lot of things make a shark dangerous, and the bull shark scores high on all of them. Size, teeth, appetite, but the thing that makes this shark even more scary is its kidneys. That's right, its kidneys. The bull shark's kidneys can produce 20 times the urine of other sharks. That means it can remove excess water that builds up in the blood, something that kills most saltwater fish when placed in fresh water. This allows the bull shark to go where no others dare, into our rivers and lakes, making it the world's only true saltwater freshwater shark. And that's reflected in its other names, the Lake Nicaragua shark, the Zambezi shark, or the river whaler. It's found in warm waters all around the world, preferring shallow waters like bays and of course rivers.
These guys have even been found to jump rapids up rivers like salmon. They've been found 2,500 miles up the Amazon River and even 1,500 miles up the Mississippi River.
This shark not only attacks people when they least expect it, but where they least expect it. And guess what? These young students are about to climb in the water with it.
Eric and I will be right there to keep an eye on them. You know, Eric assures me that this is perfectly safe, but whatever you do, don't go trying this yourself. Between the two of us, we've got over 35 years experience in the field with sharks.
Now, if bull sharks are the mindless eating machines that they're portrayed as, then for these students, climbing into the water with them is tantamount to suicide.
Wow, look at this.
But Eric's research is telling us something different.
Right in front of us, literally.
When you and I were learning to work with sharks like this, there was no class like you're running here for the girls.
What we just did now in the last 5 minutes to come out here, start feeding, took us about a year or so with our baby steps to come to this point.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
And to take those baby steps, Eric needed to find out what the sharks were thinking. When humans come into contact with sharks, the last thing they consider is what's going through the shark's mind.
Exactly, this situation tells you something. You know, it's not this mindless eating machine, you know. It is analyzing the situation. And humans are a potential threat to these animals because they do not know what we are.
Where I think people come unstuck is when you're unaware of the shark being there and you add some extra stimuli. If I jumped up and down at this very moment as this shark was coming in and taking that bait,
Beautiful.
well then he'd probably turn around and lash back straight at me, and you can see he's giving the underwater camera there a little bit of attention. So you feel the same as I do. These animals are actually very intelligent, intuitive animals. They can learn.
No question, yeah, they're very intelligent animals. We just start to get an idea how smart they really are.
Intelligent, thinking, and capable of learning? It's those sorts of observations that sets Eric aside in his research. And I've got to tell you, I think he's right on the money. As for the enthusiasm from his class, well, a picture tells 1,000 words.
I just ate the fish. Because we were right, and I was right about that fish. I was like, there's not going to be one that's going to come back close. It's not going to. It just was there, and I was like, oh my god. I want to do it again. I could have stayed there forever. It was amazing. So much fun.
Now it's time for Eric's students to experience the world-famous Walker's Cay Shark Rodeo. Over 100 sharks all feeding at once. Let the games begin. Yee!
Attitude is a huge contributing factor to shark attack. Sharks sense our fear. So the first thing to remember is stay cool, calm and collected, and you're halfway safe. But what is it that they sense? Eric says it's probably not our increasing heart rate. It's our erratic or animated movements that accompany the fear that seems to bring them in. The Walker's Cay Shark Rodeo has been operating for over 10 years without a single incident. And that tells you a lot about how safe you really are around these sharks, even when food is introduced. Each day the students spend half a day with the bull sharks and the other half offshore at the shark rodeo site. When they arrive, the skipper begins revving the engine and circling to attract the sharks. The divers then enter the water well before the food. This helps stop any association that the sharks may have between the divers and the chum. The food comes in the way of what Walker's Cay refers to as a chumsicle, a rubbish bin-sized frozen block of fish bits. The students are positioned on the bottom in a semicircle, and when everybody's ready, the chumsicle's dropped in. It's attached to the bottom by a steel cable, but sits mid-water, allowing the sharks and the divers to move 360 degrees around the food. The shark's combination of circling, distance and body posture is the body language Eric wants his class to take note of. Each shark has a safe zone or a personal space. If you invade its zone, the shark has two options, fight or flight. It's the same in most species, including ourselves. If we are unsure of a threat, we will run or turn and defend ourselves. In most cases, especially in clear open water like this, if you invade the shark's personal space, the shark will simply move off.
But in the shallows at the beach, or in the surf, Eric believes many of the shark attacks are actually a defensive fight. Suddenly you've entered his personal space. He's unsure of which way to run, so he turns and bites.
Eric's class is observing the size of a shark's safety zone and then attempting to invade it. Then a video-based theory session post-dive helps reinforce what's been learned in the water. So an important part of Eric's work during the dive is recording behaviour to teach about later. Any other sharks that visit are also filmed, as the safe zones for different species varies quite dramatically.
This is really cool. We've got a new visitor to the classroom. This guy here is a nurse shark. Nurse sharks are mostly bottom-feeding animals. They feed on stuff like crayfish and various types of mollusks. And like most sharks, they'll scavenge if there's a free feed to be had. If you harass them, they will bite, but